pine tree, maybe a Norfolk pine, I don't know enough. Pine bark extract, excellent. I've been taking it every morning as part of my little trial period with Plasmaide, and I reckon it's good. So Plasmaide, it's made from pine bark extract. It comes in a little satchel. It serves me well when I'm on the bicycle, or just getting exercise, or just needing a little bit of a, pick-up.
Plasmaide's what's known as a liquid adaptogen because of the pine bark extract ingredient. Instead of being a supplementation product that fixes a shortfall, so to speak, you use this only before and or after your activity, because what it's doing is it's having the body initiate its own responses to produce an element known as nitric oxide. Now, we all in this day and age are starting to understand the benefits of nitric oxide, and you can get it in various forms. Most people know about beetroot juice and leafy greens, which introduces nitrates. So you're taking it in a dietary form that then the body's converting to a nitric oxide. That version that the body produces from that source is an unstable version of nitric oxide and has a very short half-life. What Plasmaide does as an adaptogen, it gets the body to initiate its own response. And that response turns on the production, if you like, of nitric oxide through what's known as the endothelial cell process, which is the walls of the blood vessels. And that stabilizes the nitric oxide once it's formed. So from a 45 ml dose that has 260 milligrams of pine bark extract in it, you get a 4 to 5 hour period minimum where the nitric oxide production is continuous for your body to use. Nitric oxide, of course, is a vasodilator. That means you're getting, with the expanded blood vessels, a lot more oxygen and nutrients to your muscles quicker, which allows the performance aspect to be measured and why people can push harder for longer. It also gives lactic acid somewhere to go, is the simplest way to explain it. So removing toxic waste. So therefore you don't get any lactic acid buildup. Now the body needs lactic acid, of course, but the buildup is what causes all the soreness and stiffness. So by having it be able to go somewhere, you do not experience lactic acid buildup. So therefore, far less soreness and stiffness after the event or after your workout or your ride or your swim or your triathlon. So people then can recover much quicker and then start all over again. Plasmaide comes in the form of a slightly thickened liquid in a 45 ml dose. The pine bark extract is the only active ingredient in the product. It's caffeine and sugar-free. It's designed to be highly bioavailable so that when you ingest it, it's in your blood system within 30 minutes. Most vitamins and supplements have a problem getting through the gut. They're destroyed. You only get a small amount of those products actually in your system, which is why people don't find they really are efficient. So Plasmaide took some time to develop to make sure that the pine bark extract, which is a very difficult element to solubilize, to create a proprietary formula that would then have a suspension agent, as it's known, to allow it to get through the gut and into the small intestine. So that's been one of the biggest challenges. The other key aspect of pine bark extract that people probably don't know, it's nature's most powerful anti-inflammatory. We've had an average person, so not an elite athlete, reduce their inflammation by about 80% at blood levels. Now, blood level inflammation is something the medical fraternity call the silent killer because you don't get any symptoms, but it's the precursor to all the inflammatory conditions that we do know. Asthma, lupus, anything that's inflammatory based, atherosclerosis, cancers, anything that's inflammatory that has an inflammatory response. Now, the body needs to have an inflammatory response to heal, so it's more about balancing the inflammation. So the feedback we get from every customer virtually is how much more relieved they are from less joint pain if they've usually got some form of arthritis or some sort of inflammation in the joints. So that's a pretty straightforward piece of feedback we get from everyone. So there's a lot more to the product in terms of health and well-being in general, as well as athletic performance. The product itself is fully accredited by Informed Sport. That's for all WADA listed drugs worldwide, or in performance enhancing elements, and also First Flag X. First Flag X looks for unknown substances and masking agents that might not be known to WADA yet. So if you think back to the Sydney Olympics when Marion Jones was winning all the wonderful gold medals and everyone was thinking she had to be on performance enhancing drugs, she kept getting tested and it kept showing she was negative. It just happens to be Professor Alison Heather, our head of our science advisory board, who's now based at Cambridge University in the UK. She created the detection method that exposed Marion Jones. And basically it's a method that looks for biological irregularities in the bloodstream, raise the red flag, and then they focus on the red flag, and that's how they exposed Marion Jones. So she then adapted that testing protocol for supplements, because if you think of Informed Sport, which is the brand name of the laboratories of the government Chemist UK, they only get the protocols from WADA, and they have 2 laboratories in the world, one in England and one in Lexington, Kentucky in the USA. So if you really want to protect yourself from unintentional ingestion of performance-enhancing drugs, it needs to have the Informed Sport accreditation.
I've been taking it and I'm happy with how I feel. Is there a potential of that being placebo?
It's a common question asked because we have a lot of feedback from people who aren't athletes who have some form of joint pain that disappears once they start taking Plasmaide, because the joint pain is obviously inflammatory based, for example. They think it's placebo, so they stop taking Plasmaide. Pain comes back. Then they start again, disappears. Then when they go to the doctor and get their blood tests, they see their blood profiles improve, especially in the areas of inflammation if they're getting that measured, and then they're satisfied. So Plasmaide, by not containing any caffeine or sugar, when you ingest it, there is no stimulus effect. So unlike a Gatorade or a Red Bull where you get all the caffeine and guarana and things to stimulate you, you don't get that when you actually take Plasmaide. You therefore don't get the subsequent crash that those give you as well, because that's all short term. So when you take Plasmaide, it's really something that doesn't give you any magical feeling that you suddenly think, oh, it's flowing throughout my body and I'm feeling amazing. You just let the body take over, and then you start noticing things through your daily routine or through your exercise routine. It's a bit like when someone takes fish oil capsules thinking, yes, this is doing my cardiovascular system the world of good, but you don't feel anything. It's not until you go to the doctor and see your cholesterol levels drop.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a bit like that. Santara Technology are a Norway-based organisation that was founded by Olav Alexander, the preeminent endurance athlete coach. He coaches Gustav Eden, who's a 3-time world champion in the Ironman distance, and Christian Blumenfeld, who is a 3-time champion in Olympic distance through to full distance and is the current Olympic champion. So the 4 of them with us, the 3 of them with a businessman out of the UK founded Santara Technology. They have their own methods of training and measurement systems and laboratory, and they do all sorts of altitude training, etc. So if you can imagine, they were very skeptical when we introduced Plasmaide to them back in April. So they decided to use it in the training program and then their schedule of events over the next 7 or 8 months. So Victor Popoff and Professor Alison Heather designed a dosage periodization program for them. And some of their results were just sensational, to the point that we just left it alone, because that's what we do with everyone. We say, trial it. You tell us how you feel. We're not going to promise you anything, because we know the product delivers. It's science-backed, regardless of what people regard as what science-backed or not. It is truly science-backed. So we're confident enough to say, here you go, try it. And I'm not sure if you appreciate me saying this, but I'm still waiting for someone to say to me, this shit doesn't work.
Okay.
That's because that's reality. You always get, especially when there's a taste involved. I love it, I hate it. I love it, I hate it. This is not about taste. We make it palatable with the strawberry watermelon and the orange flavour variants, because pine bark extract on its own, you could not stand it. You'd vomit.
Okay.
Oh, it's terrible. It's very stringent. So, but the product's not about taste. But you have to make it palatable for them to then enjoy getting the result from the function of it. So that's what we've concentrated on for some 10 years now. to get all that done, to arrive here today, where we're now 1 year in. One of the key factors that we wanted to ensure was no price barrier to the general person. You find some high-end supplements are very expensive. Now, given Plasmaide can be used on a daily basis, if you're looking at it just from a health and wellbeing perspective, you'd have to factor that in because it's averaging between $3 and $4 a sachet, depending on what we're doing. So people are buying it by subscription now online, which is the only place you can get it from at the moment. And the reason they're buying it by subscription is because they obviously receive a discount for that. You buy it in either an 8-pack starter so that you can try it, and then you can buy after that in 32 packs that give you a monthly dosage, depending on what you do. Puberty onwards is the best because there's no real benefit, because the body naturally is producing nitric oxide at an adequate level up till about, I can't be absolutely specific about this, it's an approximate, 20 to 25 years of age. Then we all start declining as we get older.
Terrific, thanks very much. Love the stuff and look forward to hearing what other people think about it when they get to use it.
Thanks very much, Rob.